which leads me to my question. Is wood acclimation BS?
Probably.
Over the course of a few days or a couple of weeks that I see commonly recommended for acclimation, is anything besides the surface moisture of the wood going to change? It seems like for a piece of wood to really change to match ambient moisture, it would take at least months.
Aha.
I would say that this is like all the other silly rules of thumb that we have in the woodworking space that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for most stuff. I think if you're looking at just like 4-quarter lumber, maybe you can get it to acclimate. Not in a couple of days for sure. It would be a couple of weeks. Anything thicker, probably not going to happen in any time frame that makes sense for a project. The other thing to consider is that these rules don't tell you anything about what you're actually trying to do and what the differential is between the equilibrium moisture content of the wood and what it is in the new location. How much is that gradient changing? So the only time that I find for me personally that makes any sort of difference is right now. This transition time here is insane for acclimating, because we went from summer acclimation, which is about 10% moisture content, to now where the indoor humidity in my house is 10%. Equilibrium moisture content is now 2%. So you take something that's sitting out in my barn or that was in the house or anywhere, it's going to have like a crazy experience here as it starts coming down. I think that's just a lot of it. It's like you actually have to understand what these things are telling you that you're trying to do. And
what I love is when people, they bring the lumber, into the shop on a job site or whatever, and they're like, we got to let it acclimate for 2 weeks. And they stack it and set it there for 2 weeks. And then they go and they start ripping it into tiny little strips.
Yeah, that was the next thing is like,
yeah, well, it moved, but we let it acclimate.
Part of it is like, there's a technique that I typically do with my milling process, and that is to like do an initial milling, get the bulk of the material out of the way, get it into flat, and then just set it aside to acclimate. So you've removed a lot of that crust layer. You've made the wood thinner. You've removed the drier or wetter part of the wood, depending on where the gradient is going at that time. And you're kind of getting closer to finished dimension, and the wood that you're going to keep can acclimate. The wood you're not going to keep, throw it away. Put in the bin.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Get rid of some of that thickness and get down to a thinner piece and release some of the tension if you're going to be doing any ripping or resawing, to allow that thing to actually acclimate and to find a new state of equilibrium itself as far as its shape goes.
Yeah.